Don't don't stay asleep there, Steve Trevor. Supergirl's trying to save you. Gotta wake up. It's time to wake up. It's late. It's late at night. You know what that means, folks. It's time for the Better Late Show with your pal, your friendly neighborhood Dr.Ben. That's me. But this isn't me. This is Supergirl. This is DC Comics' Supergirl. American Honda presents DC Comics' Supergirl. In cooperation with the U.S. Department of Transportation's National Safety Belt Campaign. All right, folks, we're going to take a look at this here. This is a kind of a throwback issue. Kind of a throwback. I don't even know when this is from. Let's see. This is from 1984. Okay, but I'll give you the backstory. This is one of the first comics I ever got. I didn't get it in 1984. Actually, I'm not really sure when I would have gotten this. I know it would have been when I was a child, because I remember that my parents had a janitorial business. They cleaned different office buildings and whatnot, offices, business offices, and oftentimes I would go with them and, do homework or draw pictures or play with my Legos or whatever I was doing back then. And I remember I saw this. This was at one of the offices, but it was in the trash. And I rescued it from the trash. Rescued it from the trash can. Seatbelts. A simple fact of life. Seatbelts were apparently a new invention in 1984. Yeah, you can see this. This is getting, the spine's getting kind of falling apart. It's a little rough. I'm going to say maybe this was before the Batman movie. Batman came out in 89. So maybe this was like 86, 87. That's what I would bet. And I don't think this might have even been one of the first comics I had. This is the copy too. I've seen it in dollar bins and stuff before, but this is the copy I've had since then. And it was kind of lame, like first comic is Supergirl, the seatbelt comic. But for your first comic, you don't really pay attention to that. You're just like, oh man, a comic book. And so this is, and I had no idea who any of this stuff was. This was written by Joe Orlando, Barry Marks, Robert Loren Fleming for the story. So 3 writers for the story, and then for the dialogue is Andy Helfer. And the artist is Angelo Torres, and John Costanza is the letterer. Joe Orlando is also the colorist, and Barry Marks is also the editor. What the heck are all these other people? Tony Harrington and Rick Smith, special consultants. Steve Warner, executive coordinator, and Steve Jacobs is the advisor. Sounds like a lot of people working on this. You'd think, well, anyways, the whole basic story is, she keeps talking about Steve Trevor. I think that's her boyfriend's name, I believe. I don't even know if I've ever read this thing all the way through. It's one of these weird comics that were made, like I said, this is American Honda presents, and the U.S. Department of Transportation's National Safety Belt Camp. Bunch of idiots coming in to trying to push different things into a comic books, because I don't know, they wanted to get kids to wear seatbelts. Yeah. Yeah, so anyways. Wait a second, Steve. What the heck is this stuff about? Like, the first thing she does is saves a truck with a whole bunch of... It's filled apparently with dynamite. And look, he's driving, and the bridge is gone. Oh no. Gotta step on it. I can't let this quake shake up this rig. This guy doesn't notice that, like, the bridge is falling apart. I hate to think what could happen if... Oh no! Oh no. What the... Some kind of hot light bending the road straight up. There wasn't time to fly down to save that truck, but a little heat vision will bring it to me. Gotta brace myself another second and I'll be flying? This doesn't make any sense. Uh-oh. It's not coming close enough. Gotta time this just right. Meet it halfway. Gotcha. Hang on, mister. As of now, this flight is canceled. Seconds later. Whew. Thanks, ma'am. If you didn't get here when you did, that explosive load I'm carrying... See, one of the sticks of dynamite fell out. Might have blown half this valley right off the map. See, a stick of dynamite fell out of the back of the truck. This is apparently when they just carried dynamite around in the back of trucks back then, I guess. 84 was a different time. And then it jumps over to, see, this is something I just got confused because these guys are talking, they're working at the burger joint and Battle for Neptune's scrapbook. They're reading a comic about a movie at the burger joint. Oh, okay, yeah, it is Steve, because he answers the phone, and it's her calling, and she's saying, Steve, it's Linda. Listen, about tonight, something came up, and I just can't make it. Please don't be disappointed. I'll make it up to you. Gotta fly now. Bye. Linda's always standing me up at the last minute. Well, this time, I'm not staying home. I'm going, and I'll take Ellen with me. So Steve is apparently two-timing Supergirl. Oh, no, Ellen is the little kid. That's what it is. Oh, and so here we go. They get in the car, and little Ellen is saying, come on, Stevie, you know what that sound means. Put on your seatbelt. Listen, we're only a mile away from the theater. The buzzing will stop in a second. But Dad always puts his seatbelt on. He says it's important to... Mm-hmm. See, it stopped. Don't worry, I'll really drive much better without a seatbelt. Drive better without a seatbelt? What? And now also, this doesn't make sense. Well, she didn't wear her seatbelt either. Besides, we're not even going that fast. See, they're going this way. This other car's coming that way. Look at it, analyze this crash. It only takes a moment. A second. He gets sideswiped by this other car. Ellen didn't wear her seatbelt, so why is she telling Steve to wear his? She didn't even wear hers. And somehow she flies over and hits the steering wheel. Ellen. He smashes his head on the steering wheel. They all hit the steering wheel. How would a seatbelt have even saved him? How would that have saved him? He gets sideswiped. Anyways. Someone call the police. How horrible. There's a child trapped inside. Nobody could survive an accident like that. Look, that man's still alive. He's trying to get out. Somebody do something. These people are like just idiots. They're all just like standing there like, nobody could survive that. Got sideswiped going 20 miles an hour. It's a deadly accident. All of it. This is a weird comic. Uh-oh. My head. Oh my God. Inside that car, they're just kids. It's my fault. I murdered them, and all because of a few drinks. I didn't mean to hurt them. I didn't even see them. I was just coming home from an office party. You'd better come along with us now. Please, please, God, let them live. Let them live. So it doesn't say anything about this being against drunk driving, but apparently it's kind of like that's like a side hustle for this comic, is being against drunk driving. A week later, and the little girl's okay, but Stevie is in a comatose state. All of our tests confirm that physically, at least, he's recovering. There's been no brain damage, which makes his comatose state even more of a mystery. He's just like, he's gonna be okay, honey. He's just gone to sleep forever. This is so goofy. And we have no idea. Anyways, it doesn't make any sense. She shows up. I don't know if she was supposed to be Supergirl. Why does she have brown hair? I think that's supposed to be her, like she could transform or something. I really have no, that's what I'm saying. I've had this thing for like 40 years or whatever, and I got no idea what any of it is about, besides seatbelts and yeah, I guess it was like that maybe, I don't know. So that's what I'm saying. I don't understand DC continuities. But yeah, this is her. This is Supergirl in her other persona. Her alter ego is Linda Danvers. Apparently she can somehow, unless either the blonde hair is a wig or the brown hair is a wig, or she can turn from one to the other. I don't really understand. And it doesn't explain any of that either. It's just like you're just here and it's just, this is what's happening. Catch up. She leaves, she's talking to his parents, and then she leaves too, and then it just says soon, and she's in this weird, that's the Fortress of Solitude, where it apparently has weird animals, little dinosaur things, and then someone has come, and there's only one other person who can enter the Fortress of Solitude, Cal! AKA Superman. I'm so happy to see you. Kara, I didn't expect you to... Is something wrong? I just needed a place to be alone, a place to think. So you came to meditate in the interplanetary zoo. Again, eh? Yes. And I've come to a decision. I'm through being Supergirl. What? Kara! Is this stains of something on here? That might be, who knows? Like I said, this thing's 40 years old. I can't believe I still have this thing. I've moved, a million times across the country. People moving my things for me, me moving them. It's been a weird, long 40 years. What? Oh yeah, he talks about there's some sort of mind device that lets him or Kara go into people's minds. He says it's this device that a race of empaths gave it to him. With it, I could enter their minds as they could enter mine. I've since discovered that it works on humans too. But empaths warned me that it's possible for the sender's mind to be trapped if the receiver dies during transmission. What? The sender's body would remain intact, the soul would be forever lost. Once I set the controls for Steve's location, I'll make the jump, use the view screen to monitor my trip. Wait, no, I'm going. Kara, I can't let you. Sorry, Cal. I've got to do this for Steve and myself. So he straps her down, and she goes into her boyfriend's mind. And it's, he's imagining that he's in some sort of sci-fi ice planet or something. Yeah. Okay. And then, he's reimagining what happened, but on this sci-fi planet. So he's driving a car, an ice car or something, with a little kid, and she's telling him to put on his seatbelt. She's like, you forgot something. Try buckling up your seatbelt before something terrible happens. No, I can't. What would happen if the Marauders attacked and I crashed? Or if the car fell through the ice? I'd be trapped. Supergirl's there, but he can't see her. He's got it all wrong. I've got to do something. Steve, listen to me. If you don't buckle up, you might be knocked unconscious. Then you'd be trapped for sure. Wearing your seatbelt, you've got a fighting chance. What? He's totally ignoring me. And since this is his fantasy, I've got no choice but to let him play it out. Heads up, sister. Looks like trouble coming up from behind. Really? Oh boy, I want to see. Just sit tight, kid. I've got a hunch we'll be seeing more than enough of it before we're through. Slow down, boys. Let me try. I can't see nothing here. What am I doing? Okay, there we go. So the Marauders, they've latched on to the ice car, the snow car, whatever you want to call it. They're skiing behind it with eye patches and short. What is he wearing? They're in the snow world, and he's just like kind of wearing like a Speedo and a vest. All right, I'm down. Oh, geez, he's a scary looking one. Look at that face. Yeah! They're drying. They're driving. He's trying to get away from them. All this different stuff is happening. They're fighting, chasing him. Now, they save, faster, boys. We'll show them how to deal with that driver. I always save the best for last. Click. He exploded a hole in the ice. What the? Gordon, look out! Oh, yes, I remember all this now, yes. They have a little tractor thing that pushes them into the hole. When they hit him, he bonks his head on the steering wheel, just like he did in real life. And into the drink they go. So if he had been wearing his seatbelt, he wouldn't have bonked his head. He would have been awake, but then trapped under the water. But then how is she there? She flies out of the water with him? What? None of this makes any sense. It's so weird. It's all happening like in her brain. See, I don't think I ever read this, or if I did, it's been blocked out of my memory. And they go to another thing where they're in a jungle world trying to find sacred jewels? What the crap? That's a cool looking, it's a good looking alligator or crocodile or whatever that is. Driving over this thing. And again, he never wears his seatbelt. It's so goofy. Keep your eyes open, kid. This jungle is filled with all kinds of wild animals. Well, why don't you get off to a safe start by buckling your seatbelt? Listen, kid, I agreed to take you along because I like you, but I don't need any advice. Don't you know that it's safe to be thrown clear of the car in case of an accident? But that's not true. She's right, Steve. If you're thrown free of the car, do you think you're going to land on a pillow somewhere? Wrong. You'll be hitting solid ground and hitting it very hard. Uh-oh, and there's a tiger waiting for him, jumping at him. Wait a second, how does this what does this even happen? This doesn't make any sense. They're driving, the tiger's looking down at them. The next page, tiger's leaping. Got it. Here, catch, kitty. And he throws him a snake? What? This guy's trying to knock a big boulder off to squish him. Uh-oh, they get hit, and he gets thrown from the car, and she catches him. He was going to bonk his head on the rock, but she caught him. It's so weird. Oh, but all of this is just a fantasy in his head? And then the third fantasy is he's a private eye. And again, the kid's telling him, I came to warn you. You'd better buckle your seatbelt before you do anything else. Listen to her, Steve. When are you going to realize that she's right? Drop it, honey. We're not going far, and we're not going fast. I'm tailing Gutman really slowly. I don't need a belt. Doesn't take much, Steve. Listen to my boob. What is it? Like, that's such a weird panel of, like, you can't see her face. You just see, like, half, like, one of her boobs and the super symbol. Oh, okay, well, look, this is where he finally does it. He finally, look, if it'll shut you up. Satisfied? He clicks his seatbelt on. What happens? Oh, just like in real life, he gets sideswiped. But because he had his seatbelt on, he doesn't bonk his head. They're okay. And then he wakes up because Supergirl was in his brain helping him? What? Okay. And that's it. It's so weird. Wear a seatbelt so that you don't get bonked in the head. And then at the end, of course, it has Unmaking the Myths. In the story, Steve had several wrong ideas about safety belts and his chances of being in a serious accident. Many people share his belief in these myths. Myths. How do you say that? Is that the right way you say M-Y-T-H-S, myths? Feels like I'm saying that wrong. Do you? Find out by answering the questions below. Your teacher has the correct answers. Oh, where are the correct answers? Wait a second. Wait. Where are the answers? There's the teacher. I don't have a teacher. Well, we'll go over some of the questions here. In the U.S., approximately blank of all passengers use safety belts in their cars. 15%, 65%, 90%. The question 2. The probability, not really a question, it's just a fill in the blank. The probability of a person's being injured in a serious collision during his or her lifetime is 0.01%, 11%, 33 1/3%. Okay, 33 1/3. They're mixing fractions and decimals here. What's going on? And I don't know. The percentage of car crash injuries that involve being submerged in water is less than 0.5%, 3%, or 15%. The percentage of car crash injuries that involve fire is less than 0.5%, 17%, 31%. These are good questions. But we don't have, look, because this is the next page. The next page is how fast are you? What happens in a crash? Car hits a barrier, 0 seconds. First collision, car's front end crumples as it stops. Oh, you're supposed to fill in these. Obviously, I never did because I didn't know anything about this stuff. Second collision, driver goes through windshield as car stops. Psh, person crashes. How strong are you? I know how strong I am. Now let's find out about you. It's so weird. And it doesn't, there aren't the answers. Oh, wait a second. There they are. They're upside down at the bottom. Oh, wait, no, this isn't. This is something else entirely. This is for evaluating your risks about cigarette smoking, alcohol and drugs, eating habits, physical fitness and exercise, stress control, and safety. And it's points. Almost always, sometimes, or never. It's got what would you do? Each of these 4 scenes below presents a dilemma you might have to face at one time or another. If you have experienced any of these situations before, you know that safe driving requires some complicated choices. Realistically, how would you handle each of these problems? I like these. Okay, these are multiple choice. There are 5 seatbelts in your car, and they are all being used. Some more kids want to pile in for a ride to the football game. Do you, A, let them ride with you just this once? B, flatly refuse to let them in your car? C, other? C. I'm going to say I demand to see their party affiliation cards, and if any of them are communists, immediately make a citizen's arrest. Your father feels pretty strongly that he's a terrific driver and doesn't need a seatbelt. Do you, A, figure it's his decision and leave it at that? B, risk an argument by trying to convince him? If so, what would you say? C, other. A, it's his decision, leave it at that. Hey Dad, you know seatbelts can really help if you're in an accident. Accident? Listen, Billy, I've been driving for 25 years without an accident, and I'm not about to have one now. That's right, shut up, Billy. At a party, you've noticed that the college friend who's supposed to drive you home has had a few drinks. He doesn't seem drunk, though. Do you, A, take the ride? Let me make sure I got that. Since he seems to be in control. B, politely decline and ride with someone else. C, I would go C, pass out in the bathtub, drunk. Are you almost ready to leave, Dave? As soon as I finish this drink, we'll take off. This is what college kids used to look like, wearing sport coats and turtlenecks. So silly. D, your neighbor has asked you to do a favor for her while you're babysitting for her child. You have to be at the doctor by 5 p.m. What's more, you don't have an infant seat in your car. Your neighbor took her seat with her, and the trip to her sister's is a 20-minute ride on the highway. A, take the baby with you anyway. B, stay with the baby and miss your appointment until your neighbor returns. C, other. You have to be at the doctor by 5 p.m. What doctor has appointments at 5 p.m.? That's kind of unbelievable. And you're babysitting for her child. That's phrased so oddly. Your neighbor has asked you to do a favor for her while you're babysitting for her child. So your neighbor has a daughter who has a child, or your neighbor's daughter? That's so weird. I'm sorry, Lisa. I know you have to leave soon, but I'm going to be a little delayed. Would you mind driving Jason over to my sister's house? What? Who's Lisa and who's Jason? Okay, like I said, obviously I didn't do any of these. I don't know if maybe I couldn't read back then. I don't know. Like I said, I don't remember any of this story. I mean, I've had numerous head injuries since getting this comic 4 decades ago. But I don't remember any. I mean, I remember seeing them getting pushed into that hole, but none of the rest of this do I remember at all. That's so weird. I'm not going to do all these. What are your risks about cigarettes and I smoke only a pipe or a cigar and do not inhale. I didn't inhale. I switched to low tar and nicotine cigarettes and did not increase the number of cigarettes I'd smoke. What does it have about drugs? It just says, I do not drink alcoholic beverages. I drink no more than 1 or 2 drinks a day. I am careful not to drink alcohol when I am taking medications. For example, medicines for sleeping, pain, colds, and allergies when pregnant or when driving. I read and follow the label instructions when using prescription and over-the-counter drugs. It doesn't have anything about good drugs, though. Remember, you drink alcohol while you're taking sleeping, pain, cold, and allergy medications, and I'm pregnant and driving. You get 2 points if that's almost always, 1 point if it's sometimes, and no points if it's never. And I think, let's flip it upside down to figure out what these evaluations. For each section, if you scored between 0 and 2, you were at serious health risk. What? I think this doesn't make any sense. Wait a second. For each section, if you scored between 0 and 2, you were at serious health risk. 3 to 5, you are taking unnecessary risks. 6 to 8, you have an adequate understanding of that risk, but there is room for improvement. 9 to 10, you understand the risk involved and are practicing wise prevention. Okay, so wait a second. So if you, let's do the alcohol and drugs, because that's always the funnest one, right? Okay, so I do not drink alcoholic beverages. If your answer is almost always indicating you do not drink, skip questions 2 and 3 in this section and go to question 4. What? I do not drink alcoholic beverages. Almost always, sometimes, never. We'll put it as sometimes, so 1 point. I drink no more than 1 or 2 drinks a day. So I almost always drink no more than 1 or 2 drinks a day. I sometimes drink no more than 1 or 2 drinks a day. I never drink more than 1 or 2 drinks a day. Well, let's go with sometimes. So that's 2 points. I am careful not to drink alcohol. Okay, I always do that. I always am pregnant and I'm driving and take medications when I'm drinking. So that would be 2 points. I read and follow the label instructions when using prescription and over-the-counter drugs. No. So that's another 2 points. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. So I score for there is 6, which means, going back upside down again here, 6 to 8, you have an adequate understanding of that risk, but there's room for improvement. Okay, so Okay, let's try stress control. Like, that sounds like a fun one. I have a job or do other work I enjoy. Almost always, sometimes, or never. I'll go with almost always. I have a job or do other work I enjoy. 2 points. I find it easy to relax and express my feelings freely. Sometimes, with 1. I avoid using alcohol or other drugs as a way of handling stressful situations or problems in my life. So I almost always avoid using alcohol and drugs. I sometimes avoid it, or I never avoid it. I'll go with sometimes. I have close friends, relatives, or others to whom I can talk about personal matters and call on for help if needed. Yeah, Okay, we'll do almost always. 2, I participate in activities such as church or other organizations or hobbies that I enjoy. Sure, almost always. 2. So 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. 8 means I have an adequate understanding of the risk, but there's room for improvement. What? What else can I do to improve? I don't know. This doesn't make any sense. Anyways, this is what they're putting out in 1984. Got 20 people writing the story and coordinating and advising and special consultants, and you get this. I assume that this is all created by these goofballs, the consultants and advisors. This, what are your risks, and the what is it called? The Transportation's National Safety Belt Campaign. I would assume that is a product of all those people. That's why this is just nonsensical. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Cigarette smoke. Let me do the cigarette smoking one. I do not smoke. If your answer is almost always, indicating you rarely or never smoke, go to the next section. So that would be 10. Almost always would be 10 points. Let's say I never do not smoke. So I'm always smoking, so that's 0 points. I switched to low tar. No, I didn't. So that's another, well, no, I'll say sometimes. Sometimes I have low tar. Sure. I don't smoke anymore. I mean, sometimes I have a cigarette, but I don't buy them. Sometimes a friend will want me to have a cigarette with them. So one point, 0 points, 1 point. I smoke only a pipe or cigar and do not inhale. Well, I do have a pipe. We'll go with 1 sometimes. So that's 2 points. Cigarette smoking is 2 points. And that is, I hope you guys like this, flipping this thing upside down to figure, why is this upside down anyways? This should be up, right side up. I'm at serious health risk. Well, I imagine so. Well, this is what I'm saying. This has been enlightening. Like I said, now that I look at this, I can't remember reading any part of it. Ever. Like these dinosaur things? I don't remember any of this stuff. How is that possible? I remember this, snow machine that they're driving, but nothing else from this book do I remember. That's so weird. I've had it forever. Oh, well. And hey, since you're all here, if you stayed this long, oh, damn, it's like 30... It's almost 40 minutes. Okay, well, anyways, if you're still here, a little also myself, Relaunch. This is just kind of like the sample zine that I've been given to people. The cat nurse, the girl with the skull for a face, giant knights, insane asylums. This is all in Relaunch, the Tartarian Empire. I don't know if that'll work. I'll put a link. There's a link to it. This is my Webtoon that I got going. I'm gonna launch a crowdfunding campaign. I think in the new year to have this published in a full like a manga book. You know what the size like manga books look like a little Inuyasha book. A little bit smaller than a comic. But it's like 200 pages. I'll have the same thing for this. You can get what anyone get. You can get a relaunch. Relaunch is the key. That is the key. The binding key for it all. Girl with the skull face. That's her. Anyways, I'll have copies of this. I don't know. I'm not sure if what my next thing I got going on is, but I know some of the local comic shops in Ashtabula County have got a couple of these. Captain's Comics, Toys, and Robot Zero. I should have copies of these. Or like I said, go click on the links in the down below in the description for the Webtoon link. This is, I haven't finished reading this. This is volume 10 at Inuyasha. I haven't finished reading it though. Look, there's a picture of me with my goat brother, my first true love, a goat. Ah. All right, guys, that's all I got for now. Apologize, the last couple episodes I forgot to put the jazz on, so I want to make sure I got the jazz playing this time. I'll have the link. If for some reason you also want to listen to copyright-free, royalty-free jazz music, it is on the playlist. It's all listed below. So till tomorrow, you know, hope you all have a good night. Don't do nothing I wouldn't do, and that's that.